You're watching CHCO-TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the January 2024 regular council meeting for the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte. I'm Florence Mitchell. In today's meeting, presentations will be made by Jim Stewart of Neighborhood Works and by the Charlotte County Seniors Resource Center. Under Old Business, Bylaw EC-06 regarding all-terrain vehicles on municipal roads will have its third and final reading by title. Under New Business, a Capital Borrowing Board application from Blacks Harbor Public Works will be discussed. Now let's join Council at Macadavic Place in St. George.
I'll now call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. here at Macadavic Place, St. George. Good evening and welcome to the January 2024 regular council meeting of the Eastern Charlotte Council. This is our 13th official council meeting for Eastern Charlotte. I welcome all those that are attending here tonight and those that are watching us on television or on their cell phone or computer. And I wish to welcome and thank CHCO for being here tonight. Florence Mitchell's in the back doing the switching, and we have tonight Chris Coher doing the camera. Thank you, Chris, for coming all the way from St. Andrews to do this tonight. In attendance tonight, we have Chris McKinnon, our assistant clerk, and of course Jason Gaddett, our CAO. Tonight, I'd like to recognize Patty Borthwick. Patty Borthwick, can you come forward just for a quick second? The only reason I'm going to get you up front because the camera can't pick you up back there. If you just come right up to the front. And we just wanted to, at the mayor's levy on January 1st, you were chosen as a hometown hero, and we want to congratulate you for being one of our hometown heroes. So congratulations to Patty Borthwick. Would you like to say a few words? If not, I hate to put anybody on the spot, but would you like to say a few words?
Well,
sure. Anywhere you like.
I found out when I was gone.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because we were planning on coming and we did the last minute run away and get away for a few days. And then I was like, isn't that, really nice? I don't know what exactly it was for. I was assuming it was to do with the food bank.
I think that was one of the things. I don't have the letter here with me.
We read it.
Yeah, we read it that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But there is a trophy that comes with it. We forgot to bring that here tonight also as well.
Did you have chocolate?
I do. I do. I have a chocolate bar.
Anyways, no, I figured it was to do with the food bank, and if it was for the food bank,
right.
then everybody gets to say, this is wonderful, because everybody helps, because we couldn't do it if we didn't have everybody participating. And this year will be the 4th one, and it's on April 27th, which is Hillary's actual birthday.
Right.
So we're going to try to maybe have some birthday cake or something to make it a little more special, but we're hoping to get the food again this year and the cash donations again. But we had a letter there in the fall that said we had raised just over, in the first 3 years, over $100,000 with the food and the groceries. So
Great.
Adam helps us with the trailer and all the same volunteers every year that get everything set up for us. And so anyways, the award should go to everybody because I couldn't do it alone. So.
Yeah. Couldn't ask you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. And as you said, the food bank is very important to our area. I realized it very much so over Christmas when we had all those power outages in the area. People were spending so much money on gasoline for the generators and stuff like that. So there was a few families that were really struggling over Christmas, and thank goodness for the food bank at Christmas time. So that really opened my eyes how important that is to Eastern Charlotte. So thank you very much for all what you do, Patty. It means a lot. I just want to remind everybody, if you have an electronic device tonight, if you can just put it on Do Not Disturb during the meeting, and that would be appreciated. And what I'm going to do first tonight is the adoption of the agenda. I will look for a motion from council for a motion for the agenda. And we have Deputy Mayor.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented. Excuse me.
And it's seconded by Councilor Lee. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. We move on to conflict of interest. This is your opportunity to declare a conflict of interest tonight. And there's none. We move on to 4, which is the adoption of minutes of previous council meetings. We have a few here tonight. 4A is the December the 28th special meeting of council. I need a motion to adopt the minutes of December 28th. Councilor Lee, second by Councilor Tidd. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. We move on to 4B, which is January the 9th. There was a closed-door meeting of council. I need a motion to adopt the minutes of the January the 9th meeting. That was Councilor Hatt, and second by Councilor Thompson. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And contrary, that's passed unanimously. That brings us to the business arising out of the minutes, which are none. And tonight we have delegations, number 6. And tonight I'll call on Jim Stewart from Neighborhood Works to come forward. Yeah, right over there. That'd be great, Jim. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present tonight. So I am Jim Stewart. I'm the Executive Director of Neighborhood Works. And I have some written, so I'll stick to that. If not, you will be here all night because I sometimes cannot shut up. So our mission at Neighborhood Works is we will work with diverse individuals, families in the community to overcome barriers and enhance quality of life. We will do this by fostering social inclusion, developing skills and abilities, and collaborating with our partners to facilitate access to a range of flexible and responsible programs and services. We envision a strong and inclusive neighborhood in which community members fully participate in opportunities that enhance well-being for all. We will advocate for positive and sustainable change. So Neighborhood Works is a nonprofit organization incorporated in 1975 and is governed by a volunteer board of directors from various communities throughout Charlotte County. So it's fair to say that potential in people exists everywhere. However, equal access to opportunity is not evenly distributed. Services at Neighborhood Works will help to level the playing field. At Neighborhood Works, we believe that every single person in our community deserves the opportunity to make their lives a better one. In 1985, we opened our first inclusive facility for children and youth ages 12 to 18 years of age with the minister, in the care of the Minister of Social Development, who required out-of-home placements. In 1985 is the same year that I started working for Neighborhood Works, then called Charlotte County Group Homes. This facility today has served more than 700 individuals. In the fall of 2019, the Department of Social Development requested our organization to develop a special resource for a large sibling group ages 4 to 11 that required an out-of-home placement. Typically, these young people would be separated into 2 or 3 different foster homes. Neighborhood Works bought a house, hired a couple to take on the parent role, and created a forever home for these 5 children. So that's been more than 4 years ago. It is difficult to measure what this type of stability has done in the lives of these children. This proved so successful that in the fall of 2021, we opened our second home for a group of 6 siblings. No other organization in the Atlantic provinces are doing this. Also in 2021, the board and senior management decided to expand the vision, mission, and service offerings of Neighborhood Works through a rebranding exercise, hence the new name. We had a growing awareness that there was an expanding gap in services happening in our region based on the organization's own experience, the observation of community partners, and information resources such as Statistics Canada. So in September 2021, we purchased the former Holy Rosary Catholic Church at 59 Union Street that now houses our agency's head office. So this coming together neighborhood center will act as a service hub for the community, enabling access to a range of activities, programs, and services. This public space is bringing a significant number of community agencies and groups together in one single location. The vision is to improve lives, build relationships, eliminate barriers within the community, and facilitate social change through encouraging and strengthening joint work between and among our communities. This site that is owned by Neighborhood Works will be an engine room for significant collaboration with other agencies, organizations, and individuals. Having a central location will meet more people in need, make access faster and timelier, expand impact and benefits of skills and capacities of various agencies to help all of us maximize and use the community's resources. Further, the synergy created at this site will support transformational change for many lives. Neighborhood Works has developed a plan and strategy for this project. We've engaged professionals and many community stakeholders. We have dedicated significant resources towards making this vision reality. For Charlotte County, the service hub will yield both a social and financial return on investment that will pay dividends for generations. In the past 3 years, we have quadrupled our programs and services and tripled our staff. We currently have over 200 volunteers and counting. In the last 3.5 decades of service, we have developed many strengths and resources geared toward helping young people move forward in their lives. At Transitional Housing in the Service Hub, individuals will move to a place of increased stability in their lives. They will gain skills to make effective choices and to set and obtain goals. They will learn to better manage relationships in their lives. This is a social return on investment. The financial return on investment comes in several ways. These citizens will move away from social assistance, will have less reliance on emergency services, there will be fewer incarcerations and conflict with the law, and less frequent hospitalization. At the same time, individuals accessing services will move towards levels of higher education, expansion of skills, increased employment opportunity, and increased ability to be able to maintain employment. Directly because of solutions provided at Transitional Housing and the Service Hubs, individuals who have lost their footing will find their place in our neighborhood and communities and begin to contribute both socially and financially to their community. If we could show the video now.
Imagine the town of St. Stephen being known as a place where no one is ever left behind. A place where every resident has equal access and opportunity to the road to success. A place where every man, woman, and child can find a safe place to live, a good meal, a job, and the ability to acquire the skills and training to be at their best. A place, regardless of who you are, where you came from, could live with dignity, be treated fairly, and have the means and abilities to participate in the development of our town. Personal circumstances such as poverty and unstable housing and conflict and addictions, mental illness, abuse, and trauma are just a few reasons why some people get left behind. But knowing this, a nonprofit organization is doing their best to make sure everyone is equipped with hope. Neighborhood Works has been providing solutions for youth and their families for the past 35 years. But they want to do more. They bought themselves a big vacant church property right here in St. Stephen, and they are about to fulfill their long-term vision of creating a community service hub for people who are looking for a path to a brighter future. They have put together a group of designers, engineers, and professionals to transform this property into a place where people can feel welcome, feel safe, attend classes and workshops, and have access to vital services all under one roof. It will be a hub where several community agencies can come together in one building and provide counseling, transitional housing, life skills training, and much, much more. What was once the large church sanctuary will now become a 2-story, energy-efficient, multi-use service hub. The space will be designed with a center streetscape with office and meeting spaces on both sides. It will include a public boardroom and a multimedia room for distance learning, education, and workshops. There will be a gallery for neighborhood artists to display and market their art. The existing church community hall and kitchen will now become a multi-use neighborhood event hall where cooking classes and community dinners, health and wellness workshops, and an emergency warming center can be offered. The church rectory and classrooms will be transformed into transitional housing bedrooms, private community bathrooms, meeting and teaching rooms, laundry facilities, and a clothing boutique. This new facility will not only provide the community a unique opportunity to access a variety of supports and services. This gathering and learning center will go a long way towards solving some of the issues that keep people from prospering. This beautiful building can once again stand proud and create real positive change in people's lives. Folks, I invite you to come and be a part of this transformation. Let's make sure our fellow citizens are never left behind.
Some of you may recognize that voice of the late, great David Armstrong, who was instrumental in developing this whole process. So I just want to finish up with a few of kind of things that what we consider our accomplishments to date. So starting with our community supper. This is completely done by volunteers and at no cost to anyone. So some people have asked, is these suppers making a difference in food inequity? And we have to say absolutely not. Neither is the food bank solving food equity, but what it is doing is hopefully that tomorrow night someone has a meal on their table or be able by partaking in these meals. So what the community suppers really do is bring people together. They create a sense of belonging and fellowship, but most importantly, connections to people and services that may otherwise not connect. So to date, we have served over 25,000 meals in the past year and a half. We started in July. We've had almost $35,000 worth of 35,000 hours of volunteers, resulting in 700,000 in-kind support. So last December, we opened our Out of the Cold Warming Center, to which we're very proud of. With that, we were able to significantly affect the lives of 71 distinct individuals who by only having a 15-bed capacity, 67 of those were from Charlotte County. This program was funded by the province under housing. And because of the Out of the Cold Warming Center, we were able to employ a street outreach worker. I'm pleased to announce we have guaranteed funding for the position until September of 2026 from the Department of Social Development under the Housing and Homelessness Strategies Department. As well, we are guaranteed funding for a second outreach worker until September for the Eastern Charlotte area. And I would like to right now introduce you to Greg, who has already been in town and introduced himself to the food bank and some others, been at your community meals that you have here.
Excuse me, Greg, can you get a real over here so the camera can pick you up? That way everybody in the community can see you.
Okay.
That'd be
Greg
great.
can also leave
Thank
his card tonight. So the past summer, we introduced our Youth Launch Program, which is also a skills-based program for individuals who fall under NEETS. And NEETS, by the way, is 15 to 29-year-olds who are not in employment, not in education, or in training. And in Charlotte County, that represents 1 in 5 individuals. So 19.7% of youth ages 15 to 29, and that is the federal definition of youth. We employ a case manager, and this program is funded by private donations and corporate donations without provincial dollars. We're most excited about receiving the operational funding for an 8-bed youth transitional housing program from the Department of Social Development. This is a youth-led, goal-oriented program developing life and work skills in a supportive environment. And maybe you're not aware, but 38% of all homeless individuals in the province of New Brunswick were once youth in care. We're hoping to have our first bed, we were hoping by January the 8th. That has been now postponed to probably, hopefully the 1st of March. We just received the constructional funding for that from Infrastructure Canada in the amount of $235,000 to renovate the old rectory. This program has been offered in other parts of the province for the last 19 years with an 82% success rate. So we're not reinventing the wheel. Attached to the Youth Transitional Housing Program is secured funding for a youth outreach worker for all of Charlotte County, which is Gwen. So Gwen has also been in your community, and then we've just hired them in the last week, wasn't it? Last Monday, both and they've already been in your community looking at the needs that are down here. The other thing I want to mention about both Greg and Gwen and their programs, it's about housing first. So our model is around getting people housed. So as soon as this would be their first contact, there would be an assessment said, why are you unhoused currently? What can we do to mitigate what has happened? And how do we get you housed in the future? So some of that might be that they would come up to our drop-in center, which we can talk about a little bit later, and for a short period of time and get them back into their community housed. So everything starts with our first contact to how do we get you housed as soon as possible. And as we know, under certain circumstances, there are people that are easier to be housed than those that have been chronically unhoused. So there is a triage kind of system, and how do we get everyone housed, and then how do we get supportive housing? Thank you, Gwen. Greg? They do have some cards. So, so part of that might be particularly around the youth transitional housing program, first contact. It might be someone comes to us and say, my parents kicked me out. So we, Gwen, would go to those parents and say, what can we do to keep you here, right? Greg, in that case, it might be someone says, I'm being evicted. And a lot of times, chronically unhoused or unsheltered people that have been housed before, as soon as they get an eviction notice, they think they're out. So Greg could work with that, or even maybe they're staying with an aunt. And the problem is there's so much garbage as they see it, these people's belongings, but there's so much garbage here. We need this out of here. And so how do we fix that problem? Maybe we can find a space for that. So those are kind of anecdotal kind of reasons why we may be able to get someone housed real quickly and not have to come into any type of facility, be it youth transitional housing or at a warming center or what some people call shelters. We like to look at, and our program is around supportive housing. JCH funds were initially to go towards $40,000 that we lost because of the out of the cold created. However, it was able to serve a better purpose in helping those stay housed, get housing, get to detox and treatment, as well as fund temporary housing between detox and waiting for treatment. Currently, we now offer a drop-in center for those that are unsheltered, homeless, or living rough. We have opened a 24/7 drop-in center that provides meals, showers, laundry, as well as access to services. This has so far been successful with some minor incidents and outside professional interventions. This has served up to 19 distinct individuals on any given day or night. So NWI is very proud and humbled by our neighbors and community in supporting these programs and the impact it already is having on the citizens of Charlotte County. So I know I said in closing, I am coming in for a land and I apologize. So as a society, we tend to say someone needs to do something. We certainly say the schools need to do something. We say that the Department of Social Development needs to do something. We certainly say mental health, and we also say government and municipalities. You fellows hear it all the time. You need to do something. So for us, for Neighborhood Works, this is us. We are a small nonprofit. We got a big heart, and we're not afraid of doing the work, and we are trying to do something. So I invite you also to do something, and I do have a proposal that I will leave tonight, and what the proposal talks about is that we are asking for a $30,000 investment into our projects and programs over the next 3 years. And also, currently, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, the invitation, and I'm open to any questions, and I know time.
Great, thank you very much, Jim. You do very important work for the community, and we certainly are very thankful for what you do. I'm going to go to council at this point and for any questions or comments. I think they're pretty quiet tonight. Maybe it's the cold, I guess.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for coming in tonight.
And I will
appreciate
leave this with Chris.
This all gets recorded on CHCO tonight, so that,
Okay.
people can watch it again on
So
YouTube.
I will invite you all, if you would like to come up for a tour, and as I've talked to other communities about, it's kind of like, what are we offering you being in St. Stephen?
Right.
And so I brought some of that with me tonight, because that outreach with both youth and the unsheltered, we're all experiencing that. I know that we're experiencing it here. We have worked and continue to work with some individuals that are here in St. Stephen that have joined us, or in St. George and Blacks Harbor and St. Andrews, that have joined us in St. Stephen. Our goal would be is if we expand and can expound some supportive housing, that those people can go back into their community so they don't feel, whether it's left behind or lose the supports that they currently do have. Sorry.
If Greg and Gwen, is it Greg?
Yep.
Gwen, they could leave their cards with Chris, if you have
Yep.
cards, that'd be great, because councilors should have some of your cards.
Your worship, I just have a quick question
Absolutely, go ahead, Councilor
for
Daly.
James. Amazing work, huge operation too. How was Neighborhood Works able to establish the need for a youth transitional home?
So how are we able to establish?
Yeah,
it?
how did you learn
Okay,
this became an issue?
so for the last almost 40 years now of my work in the community and in all of Charlotte County, and the last 23 that I've been the executive director of Neighborhood Works. So we've had a youth home, and we see most kids turn about 16, and we call it 16itis. We all knew everything at 16. I mean, I still do. But so what we found is a lot of our youth at 16 move out, do not accept the care at that time, and go back into situations where they shouldn't be. So we've seen this for the last 20, 25 years, and we're like, we've got to do something, right? So now these youth can come back to us at 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever the case might be, and get the supports that they weren't willing to access at that time. So we work with the department now under Department of Social Development, and under their new Family Service Act, they're responsible to children that are up to age 5, up to 25, that have been in care previously, and they recognize that we called it aging out of care. And at 19, the doors were closed. It used to be at 16, the doors were closed. You leave care, there was nothing available to you. Then we moved it to 19. We don't age out of families, right? We behavior sometimes out of families, but we don't age out of families. We can always have someone to come back to. People that are in care, and we've seen a number of our brilliant students and individuals go on to university and can't manage university because they have no supports. They have no family support. Once they leave us, basically, we're kind of done with them because that's the way the system works. They need someone to come back to. They can't come back to us on the weekends. Their bed's already been filled with another kid. So, and on holidays, right? So that's why those things have moved, and that's where we've seen that this need was. And we service all of Zone 2, which is from Sussex to St. Stephen to Eastport to and all the islands as well. So the last thing I was going to mention, just about a tour, if you want to come up. I give the best tours. There's some Catholic ladies that were former parishioners that came in for a tour one night, and it was starting to get dusk, and they asked me if I was afraid of the ghosts in the church. So I was a little bit more curious about that, right? And I was like, well, as long as I've been giving tours, I've never seen a ghost, never encountered one. So they asked me how long I'd been doing tours, and I told them 150 years. So thank you.
I love that. Love it. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go to 6B, and we have the Charlotte County Seniors Resource Center. If you'd like to.
Hello. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here to talk about the Charlotte County Seniors Resource Center. It's a brand new to our area. We've been in operation since November 1st, so we're pretty fresh. Let me introduce myself. So my name is Emma Keach. I'm the resource coordinator, and I have a part-time lady who works with me called Carol Davidson. So even though we're just two, we're a strong team of two right now, But the hope is, as this program builds, we will get more staffing and to better serve our clients. So this has come about through Nursing Home Without Walls. It was started by Suzanne Dupree-Blanchard, Dr. Suzanne Dupree-Blanchard, a researcher at the University de Moncton. She strived towards helping seniors to stay at home longer and minimize unnecessary emergency department visits. And this is done through helping seniors access appropriate services and information, providing opportunities for socialization, access to education on aging, and responding to the needs of the community. This initiative is in partnership with Passamaquoddy Lodge, the Healthy Seniors Pilot Project, Nursing Home Without Walls, and the Government of New Brunswick. The results from the Healthy Seniors Pilot Project informed us that one of the items the community wanted was a resource center. So this is a message from Dr. Dupree-Blanchard informing us that 22% of the population of New Brunswick is over 65. So it actually started with a very successful collaboration between Westford Nursing Home in Port Elgin, University de Moncton, and of course Dr. Dupree-Blanchard. And they've been in operation for 3 years, and they currently have 385 clients. So our 4 pillars are: we're a non-medical service. There is no cost to the seniors who access the service. We are offering education sessions and in-person services to access social development programs, and our goal is to combat social isolation while helping seniors access those resources and help them to stay at home longer. We are serving the whole of Charlotte County and the Fundy Isles. The program is driven by the community. We are interested in gathering insights into the needs and the preferences of seniors who aspire to age in place and within their own homes. Our office is located at the St. Andrews Wellness Center, but if you can't come to us, we will come to you. So there's our phone number and our email. And we have a website and we're on Facebook. So some of the social development applications we can help with are the Seniors Drug Plan, dental programs, vision programs, ostomy and continence programs, health equipment loan programs, home oxygen programs, hearing aids, housing and income support, and home adaptation programs, and many more. It just depends on what the individual is eligible for. One thing that's been a success in other Nursing Home Without Walls is a buddy program. So recruiting volunteers for the buddy program, pairing up volunteers with seniors to provide socialization and connections to their community. This can range from a cup of tea to a game of cards, but we're there to help foster that connection. And of course, when people sign up, we do a criminal record check and a social development check. So, as we're enlisting volunteers, we want to help expand a caregiver support program. The individuals who engage in this program as volunteers do not assume the role of caretaker within the household. Rather, they serve as a buddy to the senior. The volunteers are not asked to do any home duties. Their primary purpose is to be present and offer necessary respite to the caregiver, giving caregivers the chance to focus on themselves. We're also acting as a social connector. There are many wonderful programs that exist in Charlotte County and the Fundy Isles, and we're just working to inform and encourage seniors to attend different programs and events. This is just one little program we're doing right now. So we are just offering people to come into the wellness center, have a cup of tea, or a warm beverage, and take advantage of our happy light to kind of beat those winter blues. We're also dedicated to promoting robust intergenerational ties through various initiatives such as the volunteering, the buddy program, mentoring platforms, skill sharing, and social gatherings. Our center will be offering a variety of education services, including basic classes on computer and phone usage, guidance on preventing falls, teaching on health and well-being, facilitation of tax clinics, and more. And we'll be starting those in early spring. So under construction, for our second year, which begins in October 2024, is we are looking at the transportation piece, looking at ways to get seniors to where they need to go and want to go, hiring more staff to serve Charlotte County and the Fundy Isles, working with the NBCC St. Andrews, creating a partnership with the Personal Support Worker Program and the Practical Nurse Program to fulfill the gap of overnight assistance and student accommodation. So the word is spreading. There's lots of media news out about it. We are asking people to help us spread the word and let seniors in each community know that we're here to help. Jim's my new best friend tonight. He doesn't know it yet, but he is. So if there's a senior group who would like me to come out and present, I'm more than happy to do that and let them know what we can help with. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. I'm going to go to council at this point for questions, comments. None. Thank you very much for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Council, that brings us to department reports, and I'll call on Jason to give the general government report tonight.
Thank you, Your Worship. General government report for the month of December. Finance, the 2024 budget was approved by council on December the 28th and has been sent and accepted by the province. EMO, December the 18th, severe storm saw the activation of EMO from 5:40 on December the 18th until 2:30 p.m. on December the 28th. During this time, Macadavic Center was activated as a warming center and several charging stations were active at rural fire halls. I wish to thank all municipal staff who assisted, including administration staff who staffed the warming center, Public Works who cleared the roads, not only in the old municipal areas, but also in many of the rural areas, and the fire service who worked late nights during and after the storm, keeping the public safe. Also the Provincial Department of Transportation and Public Safety, EMO, and the NB Power Crews. I also wish to thank Council for their commitment in 2023 to purchase generators for Macadavic Center here and the municipal office that will serve to benefit EMO. Parks and Recreation, the new pickup truck was purchased and is now in service. Water, Black Arbor, we continue to work with the water supplier in Black Arbor on continued turbidity issues. We are aware that there are a number of actions by the supplier underway to address, but also a number of improvements by the municipality over the next few months such as a water tower cleaning and a 24-hour monitoring for turbidity. In addition, the municipality continues with the project of water source exploration for possible source alternatives. The subdivision of a property in Black Arbor has almost been complete. We expect a couple of RFPs for properties in Blacks to be going out fairly soon for housing development. Discussion with an apartment developer at Brunswick Street in St. George. I did some of that in December as well. And staff were busy in December with Christmas events, the 2024 budget. The EMO event is very busy, hectic way to end the year. We certainly look back at 2023. We should recognize the great number of tasks that we have taken in amalgamation of 2 municipalities and the 6 LSDs into a single government. Yes, there's still lots of work to be done, but we're moving ahead with optimism. And I certainly would like to thank this council for their leadership, direction, and patience over the last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I'm very happy to hear about the issues in Black Arbor, the turbidity. I'm very happy to hear that a lot of things are going to be addressed here in the near future and hopefully rectify some of the issues down there. Every so often I get pictures of some of the issues down there, and I just want to let people know that it is being worked on and things are hopefully will change here with the next few months. I'm going to go to council. Any questions or comments on the report? No, thank you very much. I'm going to go to Alex Henderson, who's here tonight, and he's got the reports of the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission, Building and Planning Report, and the Dangerous and Unsightly Properties Report.
Thank you, Your Worship. So on December 14th, the PRAC had an application for a light industrial use. It's a use that is subject to terms and conditions, meaning it's allowed, but it has to go through a committee process and neighbor consultation. That application was tabled because the committee asked for more details about the traffic condition and some of the proposed hours of operation of the facility. So there was an existing structure there for many years, and it hadn't been developed for a fish processing plant, but the applicant is proposing to reuse it for a lobster holding facility. So there is a professional assessment now, and you can access that online, where traffic engineer had looked at the condition of Back Bay Cemetery Road and some of the roads leading into there to make sure turning radiuses would work. And so they have some recommendations in that report. With regard to this coming year and new bylaws that council may consider, two rise to, I think, importance to consider. The first one would be the subdivision bylaw. So currently, right now, there's a subdivision bylaw in the town of St. George, the former town, I should say. And under the provincial subdivision regulation is everything else. So the provincial subdivision regulation is getting changed. And so with that, you're going to be expected to have your own subdivision bylaw. So instead of having rules that apply separately to one part versus others, you should have rules that apply consistently across. The second thing is the building bylaw. Pardon me. The building bylaw that you currently have in the town of St. George is adopted under the former Community Planning Act, and the building bylaw is currently being superseded by the Building Code Administration Act. So with that, you should be looking at doing your own bylaw under the Building Code Administration Act, where you can set your own terms and conditions and your own policies and have that reflect in your bylaw. With the development update, so this is your 2023 year end. There's 96 building and demolition sorry. Frog in the throat. So just about 10 million in construction value, 27 zoning confirmation letters issued, 5 approvals of legal documents for registration exemptions, 28 subdivisions with 31 lots and 10 parcels approved, 2 sign permits, 1 temporary authorization permit issued, and 23 net new dwellings permitted in 2023. With regard to enforcement, there's been 57 new enforcement files that have been opened in the Eastern Charlotte community. And these fall under the 3 bylaws, 3 acts which we enforce for the local government. So to date, 19 of those files have been closed for compliance. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Council, any questions or comments? If not, thank you very much for coming in, Alex, tonight. Hopefully you'll be all right.
Yep.
Okay. Great, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
So how does subdivisions outside of the old town of St. George prevent any?
So what it, like in the former LSDs?
Well, either is there a difference between the one in the old village of Black Harbor versus the LSDs? Are they all different?
So yeah, in the village of Blacks Harbor, you'd be under the rural plan. And under the former LSDs, you'd be under a variety of different things. It could be a rural plan, so in the case of Fundy Bay. In the case of St. George LSD, the former St. George LSD, there's no rural plan, so you'd just be under the provincial subdivision regulation. So the real difference is that town of St. George has a formal subdivision bylaw, and that makes it so council can ask for lands for public purpose and subdivision. So if you want to do a small park or trail, that allows you to do a lot more things. So you're far more flexible in achieving some policies like building new trail systems for maybe ATVs or other types of users. So having that land for public purpose and subdivision is really important, so that you can only do that currently in the town of St. George. But with the changes that are coming to the provincial subdivision regulation, essentially it's just going to be the rural district that's going to be subject to that. And you're going to want to be prepared for that so that you have subdivision rules that apply in the former LSDs and in the village of Blacks Harbor. because there's a number of things that aren't covered in the rural plans that a subdivision bylaw gets into when you're subdividing land. They're specific to dividing property.
What would be an example?
Well, the land for public purpose would be one example, as I said. But another thing would be making sure that things like water supply assessments considered. When you're doing a subdivision, you're proposing a certain number of lots, it should be considered to look at what the water supply would be for the development, so that down the road there's not issues where the water table is overtapped for the development. There's a number of other things that would relate to looking at and making sure that your survey plans meet certain standards. And some of this is going to be in the Community Planning Act. Other things need to be specified in a bylaw. And the Community Planning Act essentially is looking for you to adopt a bylaw to regulate subdivisions. So there's a number of things that you really ought to be doing as a local government with subdivisions. And that's just part of the process for subdividing land.
I guess my main question would be is how does that interact with even Penfield's rural plan that they have? If we have a subdivision policy that would come out, the bylaw, this is very good. How does that interact with, like, I don't think we want to get into completely rewriting a rural plan that was just done. I know St. George had one a little while ago, so. And that would be a very daunting task at this stage right now.
Mm-hmm.
To think that we have to rewrite all that to give permissions of subdivisions. So I guess I'm trying to understand where this intertwines.
Yeah, so it's a great question. And I discussed this idea with the provincial planning director for the province. And he did recommend that you do look at a subdivision bylaw ahead of doing a comprehensive new community plan. Because that will be a bigger project, like you said. That's correct. But the subdivision bylaws said there's a number of things in there which you're just going to want to have consistent across. Like we already looked at the fees bylaw to make sure it's consistent in the municipality. The building bylaw would be similar to making sure it's consistent. And this is no different. So making sure that the process for applications is the same. What's required in terms of documentation for different types of subdivisions is the same. Because you're one community, you should have one set of rules that apply for developers. But till the time there's a comprehensive community plan, there will be things that need to be attuned for each different plan that's within your community. Because the St. George municipal plan is still in effect. It's going to have different goals and objectives that are specified in it. The Village of Blacks Harbor rural plan is still in effect. It has different goals and objectives. So we have to make sure that whatever development's being proposed, it matches the basic rules in the subdivision bylaw. But if there's objectives and policy that the municipal plan or rural plan have, as the case may be, that those prevail because they're higher level documents. They have more weight, and legally so. So we can work at a document that would work in each context, and then the additional sort of goals and objectives for planning in each part of Eastern Charlotte, they could apply when we're applying that new subdivision bylaw if we were to have one. So like I said, we do have subdivision rules. They're just in the provincial subdivision regulation, but they're not as detailed as you really ought to be going. They're very basic, general regulations. And so with the new subdivision bylaw, you could look at making sure that you have like a similar document that the town of St. George has right now, but for the whole area. And with that too, you can adopt different standards for streets to make sure, infrastructure considers different forms of transportation, that, you're not overbuilding roads where it's not necessary on low volume residential streets, for example. So there's a lot of things you do with a subdivision bylaw that currently you can't, because it's all done either through the subdivision regulation or it's just in the town of St. George. So.
I guess my concern is where lot line supersedes. If it becomes a problem, what is the supersede? Because
It would be the rural plan or the municipal plan, as the case may be.
Yeah, Jason, add to that.
I guess just, I know we're still pending our response from the province on our classification of government. I know council's request has been to move to a town, so that's why we haven't really done much with the rural plans or the municipal plan. We just never want to box ourselves into, at this point as a rural community, we would have to do a rural plan. So we don't want to get into the case of doing a rural plan for all of Eastern Charlotte, and then suddenly that's what the province comes back to us and says, they're not going to honor moving us to a town because we just did a rural plan. So I think, for us to sort of just wait as far as the rural and municipal plans, once that's decided on, hopefully it's the council goes with, or the province goes with council's wishes, and we can then go and form a municipal plan for all of Eastern Charlotte. But with respect to the subdivision bylaw, I think, with the Penfield rural plan, I think there's some requirements there of minimum lot size. I think that's a bit of the issue. We're hearing the lot size, once they're subdivided, there's a minimum size. I don't think our subdivision bylaw would change that. That still would stay in place with the rural plan. So, but a lot of this is really sort of sets guidelines. If somebody was doing a large housing subdivision, with the subdivision bylaw, it would sort of set some parameters for some green space, things that really are not mentioned into the larger provincial, regulations. So it does allow us to do a little bit more fine tuning. But it's something we can certainly look at and see, what a draft looks like and bring it to council and see that, especially with the building bylaw as well. I mean, I think that's really going to be some of our two larger development bylaws for 2024. But a lot of this is really, at some point, hopefully, to get a new municipal plan, not a rural plan, but just one single municipal plan for all of Eastern Charlotte. That's hopefully comes sooner rather than later. But yeah.
Start down rural plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully, get our council back to a town.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of work to revert and redo, so.
Yep.
No, it's a very good point. To jump on what the CEO was saying, you don't want to start that process until you clarify what type of local government you guys want to be classified as. But this is kind of doing some of that work that would probably traditionally happen after a municipal plan. But some of this stuff's going to have to speed up some of the minor bylaws, subdivision building bylaw, fees bylaw, just to make sure that things are as harmonious as possible within Eastern Charlotte till we get to that point. We can do that municipal plan.
Thank you very much for coming in tonight, Alex.
You're welcome.
That moves us to the fire report. I'll go to Councillor Thompson.
For December 2023, Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue had a total of 68 calls. 40 of these were public hazards due to the December 18th storm. For the 2023 year, they responded to 319 calls. I'd like to say a big thank you for our fire department for manning our warming stations through the December 18th to 28th. And many thanks for heating the people's houses with the portable heaters that were available. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any questions or comments on that report? If not, we'll move on to the Public Works report, and Jason will give that tonight.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Public Works report for Blacks Harbor. Blacks Harbor Public Works, they're doing regular checks with water and wastewater treatments and documenting all the typical testing they do daily, weekly, and monthly. Turbidity checks and chlorine residuals all being checked on and kept in accordance to the provincial regulations. Lift station, Mill Stream, upgrading the PLC, and has been completed and just waiting on replacement of a switch. Public Works did some help with the community Christmas tree at the Eastern Charlotte Waterways parking lot. The garbage truck, there was some work done on the garbage truck, replaced the hydraulic line on the tipper, and inspection was done with a few other repairs. First snowfall in December as well. The blower at the sewage lagoon was looked at, inspected, and getting a quote on some repairs there. 1-ton truck, there was some repairs to the doors and windows, and new control switches for the winch as well. Trackless, sidewalk tractor, exhaust leak, parts and repairs were done on that as well. Regular pickup and delivery of the propane for the Zamboni at the rink. And a lot of outages, as in the report indicates. Public Works in Black Arbor certainly busy. Had to come to the fuel depot and do some repairs of signs. Certainly Wellington Road was a big issue during the outage in Black Arbor, and still a lot of cleanup to be done down there. As far as Public Works for St. George, busy working through November and into December, a lot of cleaning with catch basins. Santa Claus Parade, installing barricades and intersections, and 1st December snowfall as well. And buildings at the Day of Interest Center, they've gone through those, cleaned out any type of material that was in there, discarding that, and shut them off and winterized them. Salt boxes were all out at the municipal buildings, and a few mile days, so they did some last minute concrete work. This is sort of a new contractor that we've used as well, so we'll monitor that and see how that goes. Kind of late to do concrete, but we've got some good guarantees, I guess. And of course, the late December weather also cited in the report there too. A lot of cleanup with St. George Public Works. And water, December water use was certainly up, and amount of water use was 10.3 million gallons, with the average consumption of about just over 320,000 per day. New Mini Home in Birch Lane, services there, and services shut off for the Birch Motel. Sewer, there were some complaints from the old car wash, sewage backup, and there's some flushings of the lines and video examinations on that line as well. And water samples, lab reports for both water and wastewater are in the report as well.
Good. Thank you, Jason. I just want to mention Ron Groom and Ricky Levitt. They do an awesome job for Eastern Charlotte and all their crews, not just the two, but all their crews as well. And like I say, last night we had not a major storm, but a good sized little storm last night, caught everybody by surprise, and the crews were out and did an excellent job considering the conditions where everything froze right after the storm. So the guys did a really great job. We're very fortunate to have them. I'm going to go to council. And any other questions or comments about the report tonight? If not, we can move ahead, and we'll go to the financial statement tonight. I need it. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you go ahead. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's something that I think it falls under the jurisdiction of health services. A few months ago, actually, I don't know exactly when, back in 2023, but council passed a resolution to make Eastern Charlotte an age-friendly community. Since then, an advisory committee has been established, and that committee met, I think, on Monday to discuss the many barriers and potential solutions that seniors face, such as food security, transportation, social isolation, and more. It's a wonderful team, and they live all throughout Eastern Charlotte, and they're committed into improving the lives of those around them. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dederakis. That brings us to the financial statement, and I need a motion from council to accept the financial report for December 2023. Councilor Lee, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Question or comment on that accepting the financial report? If not, all those in favor to accept the financial report for December 2023 signify by saying aye. And contrary, that's passed. 9's old business, which is we have one item on here tonight, and this is bylaw number EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on municipal roads. I'm going to go to our manager first just to speak on this before our third and final reading.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this would be third and final reading for bylaw EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on municipal roads. It's a third and final reading by title only.
Good. Now I need a motion to accept the third and final reading by title only of bylaw number EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on municipal roads. I need a motion for that. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Hatt. Question or comment? Councillor Dederakis, you're first.
Yeah. Due to the overwhelming positive response from the public hearings to the people reaching out to us personally, I'm going to vote yes on this. We ask that all affected residents receive a mail out to notify them of the public hearing, to voice their opinions, and several people reached out to me, as well as to other councillors. Regarding their questions and concerns, I'm hoping that all ATVs, motorists, and residents can find a happy medium in the shared usage of the roadway in a safe and respectful manner. I'm also voting yes due to the Quad NB's assurance that there will be an amount of self-regulating in regard to club members following the rules of the road, which I feel is integral to keeping this afloat. We may have off-road enforcement officers, but sometimes these matters can be dealt with more effectively with a quick, no, we don't do that.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Dirac. Any other questions or comments on this motion? If not, all those in favor of a third and final reading of bylaw number EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on municipal roads signified by saying aye. Aye. Contrary? And that is passed unanimously. I declare that the third and final reading of bylaw number EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on municipal roads. And Jason's going to just
Thank
speak.
you, Worship.
Yep.
So just on that as well, just residents are reminded that in order to utilize that trail route, that they must have a valid trail pass from Quad NB. As well, there are certain segments of that Quad NB is still working to make that full trail accessible. In particular, the upper bridge and the highway overpass still are, I think Quad New Brunswick is still working to try to get a hub for that area. So we would say that you need to have a trail pass in order to use that trail, and work with Quad New Brunswick to understand when that trail is going to be fully open. So it won't just be an immediate thing.
Deputy Mayor, you want to speak?
Further to that, Jason, we need insurance, a left-hand mirror, and your bike has to be licensed. So that's additional must.
Left-hand mirror, or is it?
Left-hand mirror. No.
Mirror.
Left-handed mayors too, maybe.
Great, thank you very much. That brings us to new business tonight. And the first item we have here is the Capital Borrowing Board application. I need a motion from council for, and Jason's going to speak on this first, on what we're going for.
Thank you, Worship. So this is an application for borrowing under the general fund. There's a land and building for the use of public works in Blacks Harbor, be 20 years at for $210,000, and transportation services that complement that project as well. Equipment containers, storage containers, and land, basically land, and that is for $20,000. So all in all, it's $230,000 for Capital Borrowing Board, and this is the whole purpose of this borrowing is to relocation of the public works operations from the Wallace Cove Road to the industrial park and behind the arena in Blacks Harbor. So part of that was building and land, and the other part of it was the storage containers and some modifications to the building as well, and some landscaping.
Okay, you said 230 or 220?
It is for 230. 230. So 210 is over 20 years and 20 over 5 years.
Okay, because the motion will have to showing at 220?
Yeah, so it should be 230.
230. So if anybody gives that motion, get 230. So what I'll look for now from council is a motion for that. Okay, go ahead, Councilor Hatt.
Be resolved the municipality of Eastern Shore submit a municipal capital borrowing board for an application to authorize to borrow money or to guarantee the repayment of money borrowed or to enter into a lease or leasing purchase or purchase agreement in the amount not to exceed $230,000.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilor Hatt. I need a seconder for that. Councilor Tidd? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? Oh, okay, sorry, Councilor Hatt.
So with this would also open up an opportunity of land that is around the old municipal office that we use for storage and heavy equipment today. So that's, I just want to make sure that there's a chunk of land that's there that might be better used for other stuff, so.
That's great. Any other questions or comments on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us to correspondence tonight. I do have one letter from the Minister of Local Government, Glenn Savoy. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your letter related to taking over the service of dangerous or unsightly premises in the entire local government and the follow-up request related to changing the type of local government from a rural community to a town. I applaud the council for adopting a bylaw for dangerous or unsightly premises that now applies to the entire local government, and for expanding your partnership with the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission. Further to your request related to changing the type of local government, the development of the regulation governing the processes for the new Local Governments Commission, LGC, is currently underway. The targeted date for the LGC to come into effect is May 1st, 2024, where the department is focusing its efforts on developing the regulatory framework that will govern the LGC. We are not in a position to evaluate these types of requests at this time. The request can be addressed by the LGC once it's in place. As was noted in previous correspondence, being a rural community does not prevent the council from providing the local and quality of services it deems necessary for your residents. There are no limitations for the council as a result of being a rural community. In addition, and the next part of the letter bothers me because it's not true. In addition, as it was noted previously, the responsibility for forest fire management within the town's boundary may be a factor for consideration, as the Department of Natural Resources and Energy is responsible for forest fires outside of city and town boundaries. Well, that change, I don't know why the minister would write something like that, because that was actually changed before that letter was written. I think he just gave me a form letter, because that is not true, because we had a fire in Bocabec outside in the new area of St. Andrews, and they would have to pay for that whole bill. That legislation was changed probably within a week or two before that forest fire. So that actually is not true. If there are any other additional questions, please contact Jennifer Thompson, Manager, Local Governance Unit, by email or by phone, and that's by Glenn Savoy. So that's where we're at for being a town. Brings us to...
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead,
Mayor.
Councilor.
So, no commitment on timeline, though, that when they would actually read our application, I guess we can call it at this point?
Well, they're looking at what, May 1st, just for this LGC to come together, but there is no time for it, no.
So a committee that we don't know actually when is actually going to be in service?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You think the government would try to hurry these things along because they're up for a re-election here within a few months, so.
Just for the record, I believe it was at the February meeting last year that we made the motion that we wanted to be a town.
No, it was in January.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm corrected.
Further back.
So exactly 12 months now.
Exactly, yeah.
Comment on that also.
Okay, Councilor Tipp.
The minister says that there's, it doesn't prevent us from doing anything as a council, but what it does do, we found out this budget year, what it does do is take, 200 and some odd thousand, or 33% of our unconditional grants or grants away, so it does do that.
That's correct, absolutely. Any other questions or comments? Or not, we'll move along to public presentation appearances. Please note, under bylaw EC-01, section 7.1, members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. If anybody'd like to come ahead, they just go right over here and to my right, and just give us your name and civic address, and then we'll go ahead. We're gonna go once. We're gonna go twice. And okay. Hey Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent. I just need your name and civic address.
So my name is Matthew Hall, and I live in Penfield. I don't want to give out my exact address because that's confidential information and shouldn't be.
Congratulations on being a dad too.
But yeah. So anyways, I do a lot of running and walking on the trails around St. George, and depending on where I'm at or where I want to run that day, I either go to the Day Adventure Center, the curling club, or by the tunnel right outside the old town limits. And the tunnel is used by a lot of people to park there, and it really needs a crossing walk and proper signage. Yeah, yeah. So that's just my 2 cents.
Great,
so.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Going once, twice, 3 times, that's it. Okay, statements by members of council tonight. I'll start this side.
There was a crosswalk there, so do we still get it, or just didn't have enough paint that time?
There is a request in with the province.
Yeah.
You have the question, I just telling you what it was.
Okay, yeah. Statements by members of council at this point. This Saturday, I will be attending 3 events. The 24th Annual Carl Tracy Jr. Memorial Dart Shoot beginning at 10:45 Saturday morning, and the proceeds from the registration goes to Dragonfly Autism here in Charlotte County for children's summer camps. I'll also be attending Ruby Bradford's 90th birthday party in Blacks Harbor. So happy birthday to Ruby, who actually turned 90 this past Saturday, the 13th, but because of the storm, was rescheduled to this Saturday. And the third thing I'll be going to is Etta Cook's 80th birthday party in Back Bay. Etta turns 80 on January the 23rd, and I wish her a very happy 80th birthday. I'll go to my deputy mayor.
Just further to ECO6, as Jason stated, please wait till the bylaw has been totally approved, signage is up, and we have an official opening before you start running said streets. So just give us a little while longer to make it all come together.
Great, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilor Thompson. Councilor Hack.
Deputy Mayor, technically we can't put signs up until we pass the bylaw, so has to start tomorrow, right?
Councilor Delarakis.
I'd like to congratulate everyone nominated for Hometown Heroes 2 weeks ago. Our county is very lucky to have so many people who genuinely care about our community.
Councilor Lee.
I'd just like to thank everyone for coming. This is probably the largest crowd we've had in quite a while. It was good.
Councilor Tidd.
I also would like to thank everyone for coming. Just in regards to ECO6, I'm assuming we're going to let the RCMP and officials know that the bylaw's been passed, because they'd have to enforce that.
Yeah, we'll have to contact public safety as well, and make sure that, absolutely. Okay, that's it for statements from council. Our next date and location of the next regular meeting of council is Wednesday, February the 21st at 7 p.m. at Macadavy Place. That's a week after Valentine's Day. And I need now a motion for adjournment for tonight. Councilor Tidd, thank you very much, and that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for coming, folks. Here we go.